I was asked to be here recently I was at an aviation conference in Aruba, and Mr. Riley met with me and said, you know, you'd be great on a panel for that experience stupid. And I thought, oh, all right. I'm the experience that your tourists, your travelers go through when you leave your country. So what happens is the presentation of security, the equipment, the operators, everything that happens. What a lot of people in the Caribbean don't know, I have spent 28 years in aviation and port security and working with different companies. When I got involved in this, I started in Cuba back in 1987, 88, working with the Cuban government to bring in their fixed assets to start tourism in their country. And part of that was with the Canadian government to make sure the security was in line for aviation. So after spending 9-10 years there, and just around 9/11, it came to a point where the World Bank stepped in and said, you know, things are getting tough after 9/11. We have to make everything the same. So what I did was I decided, okay, let's go to the Caribbean. I was in charge of that. Let's see. They need the best of the best. They deserve the best of the best. And after 9/11, unfortunately, everyone became an expert in security. And that was really sad because a lot of people came down worldwide. Oh, I'm with this, you know, I'm the expert. I'm this, I'm that. I'm not an expert. What I am is an equipment provider, manufacturer, integrator. And understanding what you're buying and purchasing to make sure you're safe and make sure you're meeting all the rules, regulation, and codes was very, very important. And to make it within the Caribbean, I looked at it and I thought, I wasn't looking at countries. I wasn't looking at, say, Antigua or Aruba or Barbados or anything. In order to make this work properly for the Caribbean, we decided that, okay, it's one country. When you talk one Caribbean, I literally made it one country. So when I went to the manufacturers and working with the TSA and ICAO and everybody, we said, okay, I want the best of the best in this region. They want to be noted for it, and they are going to pay close to what the other regions pay and keep it all similar. You know, because you get the US, you get Canada, you get Europe, they have the best of the best equipment. I don't think anyone in the Caribbean actually realizes you have the best of equipment in your airports and seaports. You have all the integration of the systems, explosives, metal detectors, walk-through, like X-ray, everything. Unfortunately, when tourists and stuff come through, they say, oh, you know, they don't even have any security. They don't have any of this. But what it comes down to in the experience stupid is operation. And one of the areas I would like to see going forward in this is, maybe the tourism board can take a stand on this, is unifying the procedures in which people pass through security. Because some countries do it very well, some countries do it not so well. You go through and they'll say, take your shoes off here, take your belt off here. You go to the next one, it's like, oh, leave your shoes on. Oh, your laptop, throw your sweater on it. There's no consistency in the process, and that's what frustrates people when they leave. Also on that, unfortunately, the operations of some of these things, the people are not, you know, it's their signatory of power. They now have power over you while you pass through these systems, so they're going to tell you what you can do. I think focusing going forward, and this is something I'm trying to bring up in the aviation experience and working with the aviators, is it's customer service. It's exactly what you were all talking about today, is giving them customer service training, because it's a service you are providing to ensure their safety, and you're number one. And I think promoting the safety of the Caribbean for tourists and tourism and business and whatever is something that should be promoted very strongly in your region, because you have it. And it's not something that's easily recognized because people don't attend to it. So that's just a little bit of information for you on where your systems are and where they're going. I would say in the Caribbean region, I now provide over 80% of the equipment. And I work very closely with the airports in different regions to make sure that they're all incorporated, and also to share the technology between them, because if someone has a problem down here, it's now easier for me to say, hey, Barbados, can you spare me a board? I need to send it over here, because it has to be a 24/7 operation. And that's how we made it one Caribbean and the security end of it. And that's why I continue to keep working on that, working with everyone. And as all these new airports are up and coming, whether it be in St. Vincent, anywhere, we're part of that integration. And I've been with most of the airports being built in them. I did Barbados. I've done just about all of them. So we're the hidden personality behind the systems that make your tourists very frustrated, angry. You know, and there's nothing worse than a tourist. Come on. They're just like that. So it's a lot to take when they go through all of this procedure. But I think with the Caribbean, the most important thing I think you have, which is an asset and really needs to be predominant when they're exiting that, You have the most beautiful smiles. You have the most best personality. So as you get these grumpy people that now have to go home, they don't want to put their stuff through the thing because they're carrying liquor and they're not allowed to have their bottles and they're taking away their bottles. You have to kill them with kindness, because if you keep smiling, they can't beat that. And I think customer service on that end of it is something that we need to start looking at when we're developing our airports, our seaports, and everything else when we're dealing with these people.